Hi everybody, it's day 3 review of Royal Ascot. Once again, I'm Tom Bull and joined by Chad Yeomans of Betway to discuss the day's action, which as usual for a Royal Ascot afternoon was full of quality and full of exciting finishes. Obviously, the highlight of the day was a complete and total romp from Stradivarius in the Gold Cup, made a mockery of the race and clearly is a horse who could go on and have a go at landing a 4-timer in the race next year. Chad, I mean, there's not a lot to say apart from the fact, wow, is there?
Majestic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely majestic. And he could have been called the winner miles out. Frankie did he took off his goggles about 5 from home. And you know he uses confidence when he does that. He brings him a little wide. It was just brilliant. And the way he sauntered clear, I mean, it was the best performance of a Gold Cup winner I can ever remember. It might not have the depth to the form. But I don't want to take anything away from him. He was sublime. It was a costly result. We put our necks on the line. I think we got a bit confident after yesterday getting Japan turned over. We super boosted him to even money when he was 4-7. Obviously, very, very, very costly. But he was a good winner and it was a good result for racing.
It was a good result for racing. I tend to agree with you. I think it was. I mean, you can't take anything away from it, but I think it was a terrible race. I really do. I thought Technician was the only horse on form before the race who could give him a contest, and he never was at the races. It was a shocking performance from him. I mean, it was nowhere near his pre-Royal Oak form of last season, which I thought was a big shame. Naif Road, in my opinion, is a Group 3 horse, possibly a Group 2 horse, but he's nowhere near a Group 1 level in my opinion. And I think that probably showed today because the horses who finished behind him aren't Group 1 level either. Cross Counter possibly was at one stage, but definitely isn't now. And Stradivarius, to be honest, possibly should be beating them the way he did. Maybe not quite as easily, but he should be finishing clear. So it was good to see that he did. I don't want to, put a damp squib on proceedings, but I do think it was made to look more impressive than possibly if he'd been up against a Kew Gardens, for example. I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was more impressive around the fact that he'd had that tough race in the Coronation 10 days ago where they were running so fast on rattling quick ground. It's not the ideal preparation for
the
third Gold Cup run. I think Technician isn't the horse people think he is. I was against him. I couldn't believe he was 3-1. I think it was the worst 3-1 shot in history. 2 starts ago when he won the Prix de Chaudenay, Moonlight Spirit was 4 points clear in the betting to beat of favouritism. Moonlight Spirit was favourite to beat Technician on 2 starts ago. Just because he won, Moonlight Spirit's still a bit more raw and green, I'd say, than Technician. And then the it was 4 times the price. Moonlight Spirit. Still, they both didn't run great, but I couldn't see why one was 3-1 and one was 12. As you say, Naif Road, winner of the Betway Cigar at Newcastle recently. He's just a typical Mark Johnson, stout, hardy stayer.
Got a great ride, I thought.
Yeah, he'll win his fair share of races. But today, he probably got given one of the better rides he'll ever have had.
Yeah.
And didn't win a Group 1. And I'd be very surprised if in his career he does win a Group 1. Looking at the rest of the field, Mekong's not good enough. Cross Counter's never been good enough. Prince of Arran probably and hopefully for Charlie Fellows, who we'll come on to later, will have an international campaign and will bring success there. But he won't be winning a Group 1 on these shores. It's not a great division. It never is. If you're the best sprinter, if you're the best stayer, even over hurdles. If you look at Ingles Drever, Barracuda, Big Bucks, if you're the best in that staying division over both codes, you tend to stay there. And we've seen that numerous times on the level as well.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I think particularly this year, the staying division is particularly weak. There's no Aura St George, Big Orange, Vizirabad. There's nothing of that calibre, or Torcedor even, to take on Stradivarius. And I think that really showed today. But it was great to see the length of the Ascot Straight really blown apart by such a brilliant horse and such a consistent horse as well. So I think from that point of view, it was great to see. But there's not a lot more we can say on that now, really. So I think we'll move on. Rest of the card, it was only Group 3, actually, was the most prestigious race after the Gold Cup. That was the Jersey Stakes. Molatham, I thought, was really quite impressive, actually. And he and Monarch of Egypt, who completely blew the start, finished a long way clear of Symbolised in third. Your take on the front two? I think the best two in the race probably finished in the right places.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Monarch of Egypt was unlucky in the Irish 2000 Guinness. I say unlucky, not unlucky not to win. Unlucky that he didn't get given a run, a clear run. He was blocked on the inside the whole way around. But he showed his true form today, and I think that's just probably as good as he is. I think he's a Group 3 horse. I think he's a Group 1 horse. The winner was good. His form of the Flying Scotsman at Donny last year is working out quite well. I think the fourth is Vizinari. He's yet to run again this season. He was the one who everyone was hyped about after his debut success because of the speed of it. It was okay. I wasn't overly taken by anything other than I thought the fact Symbolise wouldn't have gone on soft ground, and he managed to stand into third. So I'd be very surprised if he can't pick up a Group 3 or a Group 2 a bit later on in the season on better ground. He won on his debut, finished fourth in the Windsor Castle last year when he was drawn in the middle and everything was stand side, and then he finished fifth. Didn't come out the best of the stalls and finished fifth in the Richmond, where Golden Horde won, Threat was second, Royal Dornoch was third, and a horse called Volatile Analyst was fourth, and he's yet to run. But I think he's due to run next week. But the front three will frank the form. So he's not a bad horse in third.
Yeah, it could be quite a strong race, couldn't it? Actually, overall,
Yeah.
I've not got a huge amount to say apart from the fact I was really keen on Celestin, the French horse, beforehand, and I thought he ran okay, but I was hoping for a bit better. Just not good enough in the end, really. Which doesn't say a huge amount for Victor Ludorum French Guineas win, although he was very impressive that day.
I was just about to say, I don't think the French form this year is as good as it has been in previous years, so I wouldn't be overly worried about any of their 3-year-olds being better.
I think Victor Ludorum is by far the best of them, and it would be interesting to see what happens if he does come over here. But I agree, I don't think he's going to be able to beat the likes of Wichita or Pinatubo or anything like that.
You get nowhere near Nico, and they're just the different class of horse. Personally.
Yeah, I would agree. Moving on now, we had the Wolfson Stakes, which is always a very interesting race since it's been moved from handicap company to listed company. You need a group horse really to win that race, and I think it was a tale of pretty much a tale of different rides. James Doyle got a dream run up the inside, whereas Ryan Moore on Dragonet was forced to go all the way on the outside and came with the right rattle to finish second. I think if Sir Dragonet had been in the position that Masked Angel was, it probably would have been quite close. I think the positions would have been the same personally, but I think it would have been a much closer contest. And I think those two were by far the best two in the race. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I do think watch for Foxtel next time. He's had a run now. He'll be a different horse with that under his back. Still very lightly raced, but on the day you're only as good as the winner, aren't you? Really? And I thought the winner was good. It was
very good
performance. So Dragonet, people got taken, kind of got carried away with his victory in the Chester Bars. He beat nothing, and then he went to the Derby. And yes, he was narrowly beaten, but what was in behind them was Circus Maximus. Bar that was nothing. The front five all finished in a line.
He wasn't even entered for the Derby. People always forget that he had to be supplemented.
And if anyone ever thinks that Aidan O'Brien doesn't know how good each and every one of his horses are, very much mistaken. He knows exactly the pecking order from top to bottom and bottom onwards. He just was just a little bit better on the racecourse than he was at home, which happens. But he never thought him to be Derby class. He's a serial horse. He's a serial loser at the moment, isn't he? He hasn't won for a while.
Yeah, a bit like me.
Yeah, but no, not at all. He's a bit of a bookmaker's friend at the moment because he gets well backed and he gets well.
Yeah.
So we're happy with his performances in that aspect. If we're going down that road. Apart from that, some of them were disappointed. Extra Elusive was flying at the end, and he'll probably pick up a race at some point. But yeah, the winner won fair and square, and I think that was again a good ride by James Doyle, who, in my opinion, is as good as any in the saddle.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he's up there definitely with the best. Jim Crowley had another great day. We saw him win on Marathon. We talked about that earlier, and Calusi as well, who just bolted up in the Britannia. Definitely a group horse in a handicap. I know we've said that before, but he definitely is. And Finest Sound probably is as well, who came second. The front two quite clearly had. I said that I've done 3 or 4 races today already, but they definitely were the best horses in the race and quite exciting for the future, I'd say. Calusi absolutely bolted up at Wolverhampton last year and is quite clearly a very exciting animal after just, I think he said 3 starts now. So that was his third, yeah. So, yeah. Well, what more can you say? I mean, what do you reckon on that?
No, I think he's very good. I thought he caught my eye when he was second on his debut. He caught everybody's eye when he won at Wolverhampton. And he's certainly, if anybody else missed him, he's caught their eye today. He was very good. Again, drawn high on the straight course at Ascot this week. It's paid dividends. Finest Sound was drawn 17. Calusi was drawn 19. It has paid to be drawn high. We'll talk about the one anomaly in the last race.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it has has paid. So it does have a slight advantage. He still looked very green. He came across, but he stayed on well and went clear. And he'll probably get further in time as well. But Roger Varian's team are absolutely flying. They've got some really nice horses, some really nice 2-year-olds to run in Sadare and Dark Line over the weekend. And Defoe in the Hardwick tomorrow. Plenty of chances.
Yeah. Roger Varian, the softly spoken torpedo, as I like to call him. Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, well, a Highland Chief won the Golden Gates quite impressively, actually, I thought, but not much to say on that, I wouldn't have thought. But the Chesham, Aidan O'Brien again, bit of a genius, really, because Battleground, if anyone watches his debut, unless you're Aidan O'Brien, you watch that and think, well, I'm not going to go to Royal Ascot with that horse, and I certainly won't be winning a race. But again, he did the same thing with Churchill. He just knows what he's got, and Battleground actually very impressive in the Chesham, wasn't he?
Bully, I've got to disagree with you on the first statement. If you go onto my Twitter page, I commented and I tweeted the second he went across the line, watch out for Battleground, put him in your trackers because he will win soon. Little did I know when I tweeted that 10 days ago that winning soon would mean he'd win the Chesham on the next start.
When you said that, did you think it would be as high profile a race, or were you thinking Maiden Company?
I thought, well, I didn't think they'd go for this, to be honest. In my head, that I thought they'd probably pick up a maiden at some point, but he's a really nice horse. The one thing is he's a Warfront, and I really don't like Warfronts. They don't seem to train on. They seem to be just as good at 2, which is fine. You can punt them whilst they're young, but after that they don't seem to go. But out of the Wonder Mare found, so this might be slightly different. He looked very good. He was better. First Profit Charlie Fellows bolted up at Newbury last weekend. Wasn't the same horse today. I think it was just too much too soon.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, that Bright Devil, it just all happened a bit too soon for these. But Battleground, he came there, he won his race, stayed, and whether it was over 6 furlong or whether it was over a mile, he would have won whatever the distance. He was just a better horse. We went 12-1 for the 2,000 guineas next year and 12-1 for the Derby next year, and I think that would get shorter and shorter with each time he runs.
Yep, I would 100% agree with that. And finally, let's just quickly talk about the Sandringham Stakes, which is, as you mentioned, the anomaly in terms of the draw, where all the action happened on the far side with Onassis coming with a late rattle to win for Hayley Turner and Charlie Fellows, who have now won the last 2 Sandringhams after Thanks Speed did the business last year. I think at exactly the same price, 33-1, around about that price anyway. But yeah, very odd. I mean, Waliak seemed to be slightly unlucky to be drawn on the near side because she had to plough her own furrow, which is just bizarre. I think Waliak is the best horse in that race, personally, and I think Roger Varian would be spitting feathers that she didn't win that. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I do think that Waliak, in another race, Waliak would win, and Waliak's the one to take out the race. Al Razmar for Richard Farr, he ran well for a long period. There might be a race up north somewhere that they'll pick up, no problem with that. Take nothing away from the winner. Drawn lowest. Drawn in stall 1, you've got the hardest task, as this week's proved. Holly Doyle gets all the recognition at the moment, but take nothing away from Hayley Turner. The way she rides Ascot is as good as anyone. She's brilliant on her day, and she delivered on assist perfectly to win the Sandringham, as you said, second year running. I remember this time last year, writing the press release around a similar time, and the headline was "Thanks be to Hayley Turner," because Frankie had ridden 4 on the card, hadn't he?
Oh yes.
And it was going to be a very, very fractious evening, shall we say? And we were staring down the barrel of a gun. Luckily, Hayley Turner came to the rescue in the last, and she's come to the rescue in the last again because she toppled African Dream, the handicap blot that never was. When she was the first one off the bowl. She looked the first one beaten to me.
She was pulled up in the end. Hayley Turner, I agree. I think she's the best female jockey on the flat there's ever been by a considerable margin. I think she's different class. I know Holly Doyle is very good. Nicola Curry's good. And there have been some good ones in the past, Sammy Jo Bell, for example. But Hayley is just the way she rides, the figure that she makes on the horse as well. She's very relaxed. She's got she's got very soft hands, and she's just so professional. And she's a Group 1 winner. Horses go for her, absolutely. And also, just a quick word for Charlie Fellows. Great to see him get a winner. I used to write his column, and I remember when Onassis was a 2-year-old, he said to me, Onassis is my best 2-year-old. And she may not prove it for a while, but she will be very, very good in time. And he's absolutely right. So fair play to him on that one. But yeah, a really good day. Again, Stradivarius, I think probably the highlight for any racing fan.
Yeah.
And I look forward to some good action tomorrow with a Group 1 in the Commonwealth Cup and the Hardwick Stakes, of course, over 1.5 miles. Thanks very much, Chad. We'll be talking again tomorrow, and look forward to the action a lot on the Friday.
Good luck, everyone, tomorrow.
Yeah, nice one, guys. See you soon.
Love it.